What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 16th day of November, and here we are sitting at about $95.3 thousand with 9 hours and 40 minutes left in the day. It is the end of the week, 9 hours 40 minutes left in the week as well, and we likely do close below our 50-week moving average, right? Unless in the next 9 hours and 40 minutes we get not just a Sunday pump, but a miraculous Sunday pump at that, where we pump, something on the lines of how much would that be from here, actually? About 8%. Yeah, we'd have to pump about 8% or more, closing above $103,000 in order to close above the 50-week. I just don't think it's going to happen. And we have a lot of people are worried about closing below the 50-week, and maybe it is a sign that there's more downside to come. And if so, we are probably in a bear market. I don't think that's the case, though. Right, we've seen it happen. We saw it happen last cycle. That here, we closed below the 50-week, and we actually moved up afterwards. The very next week, we moved up. We did move a little bit lower, to be fair, right, immediately. And I'm sure a lot of people thought this is it. This is the beginning of the bear market, and then boom, then we moved up here, new all-time highs. We closed below the 50-week here, and we actually had a green week the next week, and we actually saw higher highs even. Now, we had the COVID crash after that, and this could be manipulated effort, but nonetheless, we actually had a very positive result last time. And then again here, whenever we crossed back above the 50-week, that did not mark a new bull market. That wasn't the end of the bear market, right? So we've seen this 50-week being disregarded in recent history a lot more. So it's not that it will be disregarded. It's just that I'm not as end all be all on this. I don't think that this is going to, closing below this yellow line is going to make or break us. It could, but there's a lot of different things that suggest that we're at a low point here, right? One, we're literally right in the kind of midpoint of this consolidation phase here. If we're looking at this overall from a low to a high, we are right at the 0.5 area, which Bitcoin loves finding support at its 0.5. We've actually found support and resistance at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement throughout this whole cycle since the beginning. Like literally, we've been finding significance on it, right? From a low here to a high there, bounced right off it at the 0.5 here. From this low here to this high here, you bounce right off the 0.5 here and right here as well. You even found resistance. If we took this high to low, there's resistance at the 0.5 there. If you take this low to high, you didn't find your low at the 0.5 as the golden ratio, but you did find support at the 0.5 before and after right there. We've shown a lot of significance at the 0.5, and it doesn't have to be specifically dead on at that level, but somewhere around there, and that's where we're at now, right? We're literally right there right now. So. And I mean, if you take this high, you don't take the fake out highs. We're actually literally right at the 0.5. Technically, I think this is actually the way that you would measure it. I'm not trying to cherry pick. It does look better this way, but technically these are fake outs. Normally, whenever I draw my fibs, I don't take these. But this is the all-time high, so that's a significant level. It's hard to say. But nonetheless, I'm not worried about the 50-week close. Right? We've got very high levels of fear, and the last time we saw these levels of fear, we were actually down here, right around the 50-week as well. Similar, very very similar price action. On a daily time frame here, looking at this, if we were to close below this megaphone pattern support line, that would have me a little bit worried, but there's still hope where we could close below, and then the next day we could close above, so just be aware of that. But what I'd like to see here is that we find support and then we move up. So I want to look at the 1 hour time frame. I want to zoom out from there and just see what we're dealing with and where we're going to go from there. Actually, before we do that, I also want to address that we yes, do have a death cross here on the daily time frame. I'm sure everybody is very well versed in what death crosses are at this point, but I'll just explain. A death cross is whenever you have the 50-day moving average, specifically the 50-day, and that is the yellow line, and then the 200-day moving average, which is the white line. When the yellow line crosses below, that is a death cross. And the last death cross we had for Bitcoin, we were at a low point, literally at the same areas that we are now, right at a low point. The time before that, we had a death cross. We weren't at the low point, but we had already had the low, right? We already had the low. We were at a low point overall of this consolidation phase. Whenever we had our death cross here, we were also literally at the low. And the time before, we can just keep going. Not every time is this true, but typically it is, right? Here, we were at a relative low, but we kept going lower. We did keep going lower. This correlated more with the beginning of a bear market, right? A little bit different circumstances than we have now. Here, low point. We can go back in time and analyze every single death cross that's ever existed, but I'm sure everybody's done that at this point. I don't need to go on with that, but I'm just saying this is more of a bullish signal than it is a bearish signal. I think death crosses should actually be called golden crosses, and golden crosses might deserve to be called death crosses, right? The last golden cross we had right here was literally right at the top as well. Right before we saw from a high to a low, we saw a drop that was overall like 12%, right? And a long consolidation phase at that. Anyways, I'm going to get rid of these. I'm just going to mute these again. We could leave the, let's leave the 50 on there and just see if that comes up with anything, okay? Screw it. We'll leave them both on there. I hope it's not distracting. I hope it doesn't mess with people's stuff. We'll see. 1 hour time frame here. We'll see if there's any respect, right? If there's not any respect, doesn't look like there's any respect on that 50. Kind of on the 50. I'll just delete these lines. I think that with all my drawing and stuff, it's going to be distracting. So let's just move on. 1 hour time frame. Looking at this, you can really tell that it's the weekend because we have no volume at all. A little bit of volume picking up here, to be completely fair, though, over the past like 6 hours for whatever reason. We are consolidating here, and I think we're just ready to. We're looking to make a move. Up or down, I don't really know. Let's look at the indicators. Let's see. Hopefully not down, but you never know. We are the 1 hour RSI does look productive. It looks bullish. We've got higher lows and higher highs. Looks like we're at an area to bounce in this structure, and also at an area to bounce right here at the 40. It's a perfect area to bounce, so do so. I think that we will. By the time most of you watch this video, we should be above 95.4K. I don't know how high up we will be, but somewhere above there, okay? The stochastics disagree with the RSI. That the stochastics would suggest that we go lower, that we have lower to go. We could find support here, but it's not common. And then the MACD would actually suggest that we go lower as well, that we reject here and that we do go lower. So I take it back. Actually, 2 versus 1. Even though I do favor the RSI over both these indicators, I'm going to go with 2 versus 1. These both are suggesting we go lower, so we're going to go lower. But I wouldn't think that they suggest that we go lower than this low, just lower than this price. So how much lower can we go? Low here to a high. Golden ratio bounce. Yeah, let's go down to the 786. Bitcoin likes the 786 as well. It's been finding a lot of support and resistance there. So 94.6K, somewhere around there for support, and then we move up. That's the thought, right? Higher low or lower low here, and then we move up. That would be the thought. Hold support. If I'm wrong, then we'll just move up higher. And in which case, the RSI told the truth. The stochastics and the MACD are lying. But I think both of these suggest we go lower. Not too much lower, but a little bit lower. I really could see us getting back down to about 94.6K, 94.4K. Okay, 4 hour time frame. Looking at this, the RSI is volatile. It's beat up here though. Finding resistance at the 40 is no fun. You probably come down, form some bullish divergence or something with that. I mean, we could even go as low as 94.6K. If we get a close right here, then we're getting bullish divergence. We get a close just below there. We get some bullish divergence on the RSI and the stochastics and the MACD. Now, like I was saying on the 1 hour time frame, these indicators, these two might suggest that we have lower to go, but that doesn't mean that we go below this low. The 4 hour time frame is suggesting that the low is in. The stochastics are crossed up like this. They actually look really good. This would suggest that we have growth not just for the coming hours, but for the coming days, because we're on the 4 hour time frame. The MACD is crossed green, and it looks like we're building bullish momentum alongside with the stochastics building some momentum as well. And the RSI, while it is beat up here, it's volatile overall. I wouldn't be surprised if we were on our way back to the overbought zone as well. But you might have a little bit lower. Again, you rejected the 40, maybe come down a little bit, bounce off the oversold zone, and that will propel you higher. So today's Sunday, where a lot of people might be fingers crossed, hoping that we get a bullish pump on Sunday, and maybe the CME gap bros are expecting that we'll gap to the upside. I think we actually might have a gap to the downside, or we'll if you move up, you actually leave a gap to the downside. So we're going to have a gap to the upside, right, in correspondence to Friday's close. I think that we will move down, and then by the end of the day, we should have our low. Moving up into tomorrow, Monday, should be the time that we actually start to recover. So today, Sunday, is probably going to be a dud, right? Yesterday was a little bit exciting. We moved up 1%. Today might be a dud. We move down 1% or something like that. But I'm not expecting that we go below this lower. If we do, it'll be very short-lived, and then we will move back up from there, okay? Looking at the daily time frame here, the RSI is oversold. Getting a red day, I guess, wouldn't be the best look, to be fair, because you're rejecting the oversold zone, but it is what it is. I think that's what it'll be. If we don't get a red day today, then things are happening a little bit faster than I thought, in which we will find our low and we'll move up all in the same day. I mean, maybe we do have an end-of-day pump. I don't... It's not that it can't happen. It's just I'm not really necessarily expecting that here, but it could happen. We could get an end of day pump, but it wouldn't. It would be like the last 6 hours, maybe the last 8 hours at best, or 4 hours. But the daily MACD here, daily MACD, no bullish divergence. Do we have bullish divergence? Oh, we barely have bullish divergence. We barely do. We barely do. If we close today any lower than where we are now, though, we're going to get rid of this bullish divergence. So I don't know. Maybe we find our low and we move back up to this price by the end of the day. I don't know. Or higher. But we do have a little bit of bullish divergence on the MACD. Stochastics are oversold. RSI is oversold. We're certainly at low points and weak points, but you might hear oversold, thinking, oh, hey, it's time to buy if we're oversold. You can go lower. You definitely can go lower. I wouldn't be too surprised if we did go lower. But just how much lower is the question. Right? And again, we don't want to break out of this trend. If we wick below, it's okay. It's not ideal, but it's okay. You can wick below. We don't want to close below this trend line, which at this point would be something below about 93.7K. We don't want to do that, okay? I don't really have anything else that I want to talk about. I think I've said everything I need to say. Oh, there's this. You know, there's this here, the long to short ratio here. If we're looking at this, the amount of longs that we have are about $2.45 billion in cumulative volume. If we're looking at, and wow, that's wild. No OKX. Is there no OKX longs? Oh, there they are. Is there no Binance longs? What the? Why aren't they including that? Oh, maybe it's just all the way down at this price. Okay, that's all it is. There's 2.5 billion in longs. There's 10.7 in shorts. We've got like less than $13 billion in longs and shorts. It's pretty crazy. If we look at our open interest, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. If we look at our open interest levels here, let's just see. Scrolling down, it'll load. It takes a second sometimes. It's just a lot of data, right? We can see that we are at some of the lowest levels. We are literally at the lowest levels of open interest that we've seen since July, since we started this megaphone pattern here with Bitcoin since July. We're at the lowest levels of open interest. And typically whenever you're at these low levels, relatively speaking, of open interest, that is a time of which you do start to move higher, right? High levels of interest here, we get down to the low levels. You can't really see because of this black bar that keeps dancing here. But right there, these low levels, that marked the low. We started to move higher. The price, in all fairness, did go a little bit lower as open interest grew. But we did continue to move higher. We're at some of the lowest levels we've seen really since June. We're at even like slightly lower levels than what we had in June. So I do think that we're at a point with high fear, with low levels of open interest, resetting on a bunch of different indicators. We're going to have capitulation with the weekly closing below the 50-week moving average. All these things, I believe, and the government shutdown just ended. I believe that we are going to see growth. I believe that we will prevail. But again, things might get a little weird over the coming days. So don't get shaken out. Don't get scared. I'll be making videos on this daily. I'll hold your hand, right? Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.